The Premier League title race has just taken another dramatic twist. Manchester City beat Wolves, Aston Villa got the right result against Newcastle, and Manchester United turned up to the Emirates for the first time in 8 years and walked away with the 3 points. 2 fantastic goals from Cunha and Patrick Dorgu. Now, today I want to talk about what this means for the title race. Are Manchester City good enough to close the 4-point gap? Could Arsenal extend the gap back to 7, 8, or possibly even 9 points? The meltdown I see yesterday online is as high as you would possibly expect it. A lot of Arsenal fans are saying, is this deja vu? We've been here before. We've bottled the title race before. That is what's being said online. I look at things a little bit differently. Yes, Arsenal have to win the league this season. Yes, most people are saying they have to win the Premier League and the Champions League this season, or either trophy to stay in a job. Well, as it stands, as we're recording this on the 26th of January, Arsenal are 4 points clear of the Premier League, 1 game away from making the final of the League Cup, which they have a goal advantage in, and the games at home. In the 4th round of the FA Cup against Wigan, which is a favourable fixture, and they've won 7 out of 7 in the Champions League. Arsenal have only lost 3 games all season. 3 games, which was against Aston Villa, Manchester United, and Liverpool. Should the meltdown be as high as this? What's everyone's thoughts? Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you drop a like if you haven't already, and you let me know your thoughts. The road to 100,000 subscribers is well and truly on. We've got a Manchester United video coming out later. Make sure you check out the second channel, all the Spurs content, as Andy Robertson will be staying at Liverpool and not joining Spurs. We can't even get a 31-year-old Andy Robertson over the line. But yeah, let's jump straight into it. So as it stands, the Premier League table looks something like this. And it's got a lot of Arsenal fans nervous. It's got a lot of City and Newcastle fans excited. Now, yesterday's game against Manchester United for Arsenal wasn't anywhere near the level. They simply weren't good enough. From back to front, from minute 1 to 20, they were very good. After that, from minute 20 going forward, they simply weren't at the races. Now, I want to talk about 2 players in particular. Martin Odegaard, we'll start with him. Lots of people are saying, I've never seen a captain subbed off in the 58th minute. I personally, just my opinion, think it may be time for Manchester United, for Arsenal to hand the armband over to someone like a Gabriel or a Declan Rice. Now, there could be a language barrier. I'm not sure how good Gabriel's English is for the rest of the Arsenal camp. But Declan Rice, for instance, captained West Ham, or was pretty much a captain at West Ham a lot of the time. He was very, very good in the West Ham's run up to the Conference League. And the other issue is, not just Odegaard, the only players in this Arsenal squad that have won league titles in terms of Premier League titles is Gabriel Jesus. There's no other player in that Arsenal camp that have won a Premier League title. Now, Martin Odegaard is getting hammered left, right, and centre. He's gone off the form the last 12 months. He hasn't been at the races. He had that incredible year. Him, Saka, and Martinelli all got 15 league goals in their first year trying to win the league title. The second year, I personally think, looking at this right now, that just for me personally, Martin Odegaard, after that year, has gone off the boil. This year and last year hasn't been great. He's a fantastic passer of the ball. And then you look at Eberechi Eze. He hasn't been, since the North London derby, up to speed. Bukayo Saka's 13 league games without a goal. Gyökeres is what? 1 non-penalty goal in something like 12 games. But with all this being said, they're still top of the league. They're still top of the Champions League. Now, what should be an eye-opener for a lot of Arsenal fans is how easy Man United were able to counter them. Man United have got a lot of pace on the counter. in Ahmad, in Dorgu, in Cunha, in Brian and Buemo. Now, Man City are a lot of people saying Man City are going to go and win the league, right? Just my opinion. If they do not beat us on Sunday at 4:30 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and Arsenal go out there and beat Leeds United, right? If they go out there and beat Leeds United, for me personally, like, I personally think, for me, I don't think they beat us, and I don't think they beat Liverpool. Now, if my prediction comes true, and Arsenal go and beat Leeds, and they go and beat Sunderland, which I believe is their next league game after that, then all of this meltdown right now would have been for nothing. Now, Arsenal have to beat Leeds United. I can't stress enough how important that fixture is. There'll be a lot of nervous fans at that ground, a lot of nervous Arsenal away fans, and there will be a lot of players in that dressing room yesterday that were shocked, that they've had a wobble, Arsenal. Let's call it for what it is. It might only be one defeat, but it's a wobble. Now, how you respond to that wobble is what makes winners, essentially. Now, the Karatalmati game, right, for me, they should be making a number of changes. They'll want to go bounce back and win that game, and they possibly will be making it 8 wins in a row in the Champions League, playing Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich, Bilbao. They haven't had an easiest run of games, but they've won every single game so far. Now, some people are saying, how comes our Champions League form is different to our Premier League form? You could say the same with Spurs. Look at Spurs, for instance. When we beat Borussia Dortmund, a lot of teams in Europe come out and play against you. Whereas when you're in the Premier League, when Arsenal are in Premier League title races, every single team is sitting back and playing a low block. Now, that's not necessarily an excuse for you not winning football matches, because after all, Mikel Arteta and his players will be used to that, and they should have enough tactics and enough different combinations in the play to, like, for me personally, I believe that, they go and beat Leeds and they go and beat Sunderland. But if they don't, the meltdown will be even bigger and the pressure will start to mount. Now, as I said, if we beat Manchester City and somehow do Arsenal a favour, I believe Aston Villa will beat Brentford. So they could go 5 points clear of City, but Villa could close the gap to within 2 points. Now, I honestly believe that Man City, I didn't think they were that great against Wolves. Only 11 shots, the same amount of shots as Wolves when you look at the match stats. Yes, they had more possession. XG was actually quite similar. But this is a Man City team that lost to Bodo Glimt, that lost to Man United, that drew to Brighton, that drew to Sunderland, that drew to Chelsea. Our home form against Man City is absolutely diabolical. And a lot of people will be saying, well, we are going to get slapped. And part of me thinks we will lose comfortably. But there's just something about whenever we play City that their form, how good of a players they've got, their world-class talent goes out the window and they just don't turn up. They don't play, they almost play the occasion, not the game. Instead of just playing a football match and doing what winning football matches, they get caught up in the occasion and lose or draw to us. Now, for me, if Arsenal, if they don't beat Leeds United, it blows the title race wide open. If they get back to winning ways and just say it was a blip, and then they go on to beat Sunderland, and then they go on to beat Brentford, because that's what they need now. They need a 4 or 5 game winning streak in the Premier League and get back to winning ways. Because if they don't, Man City and Aston Villa could potentially be there, right, ready to pounce. And I'll be honest, the Chelsea game in the League Cup, that's also a very, very big football match, but they've still got 2 more games this month, and it's the 26th. I believe they go out and beat Karatalmati, 2 or 3-0 comfortably with a number of changes. And then they have to go out there and beat Leeds United. Now, Leeds United are playing tonight, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on away to Everton, which isn't an easy place to go to. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin is returning to Everton, so that'll be interesting to see how he gets on. For me, look, I think Arsenal fans need to calm down a little bit. I know that there's a lot of online, creators that have been heavily Arteta out that are saying we were right. You're still top of the league. You're still top of the Champions League. You're still in the FA Cup and you're still in the League Cup semi-finals. If I said to you at the beginning of the season after 23 games in the Premier League, would you take being in a League Cup semi-final, FA Cup fourth round, top of the Champions League, and 4 points top of the Premier League? You'd have bitten my hand off. You'd have absolutely bitten my hand off. When you apply the context to it, though, looking at the fact that Liverpool haven't been anywhere near the level last year, and they haven't won a game in 5 games. When you look at the fact that Man City have only got 1 win in their last 5 games and 3 draws, and you apply the context that they should have beaten Liverpool at home, they should have beaten Nottingham Forest away, I can understand the frustrations. I just think sometimes the frustrations are a little bit over the top. Look, there's no doubt that they have to go out there and win the league title. If they don't win the league title, then, huge questions need to be asked about the long-term plan of Arteta. I know they're talking about him signing a new contract. And look, if he goes and wins the league title, then yeah, he deserves a new contract. But a lot of people will now say, look, $1 billion spent, you've been there 6, 7 years, however long you've been there, and you haven't managed to get the league title over the line. Now, he could quite easily walk into another job. He could quite easily go and manage Barcelona or something and win a huge amount of trophies there. But there is pressure building because that's 3 games without a win now, and they have to get back to winning ways. And Ellen Road this season isn't an easy place to go. Leeds United have actually got more home points this season than Chelsea. Funny enough, Tottenham now have actually got the 2nd worst home record in the league. We've only got 9 points at home. If Wolves beat Burnley this week, this week, we could actually have the worst home record in the league. That's the home chart as it stands. The away chart is like that. Now, it's gonna be an interesting few games. Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon. I'm out.